What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday and welcome to Sunday Sessions. I'm your host, Darante Lamar, and wherever you're watching from today, I'm genuinely glad you're here. Welcome in. We are Bridge City. Now, Bridge City is a global community of people who are committed to connecting better, building better, and living better, free from superstition, coercion, or control. What brings us together isn't belief, background, or certainty. It's a shared commitment to people, clarity, and growth. We're not waiting on the future to imagine better community. We're practicing it right now. We're building bridges to better understanding, deeper empathy, and more honest connection so people everywhere can reclaim their authentic existence and contribute to the world on their own terms. At Bridge City, Sundays aren't about doctrine or dogma. They're about people. So every week we gather as a global community, not to be told what to think, but to think together, to learn together, and to grow together, and to create better possibilities together. Because at the center of everything we do is this conviction: people matter. So whether this is your first time here or you've been a part of this community for a while, welcome. My hope is that something in today's experience gives you clarity, encouragement, or maybe even a little light. And just so you know, Bridge City isn't just online. Our global campus connects people across the world, and we're already seeing local expressions take shape. Bridge City Los Angeles is meeting regularly for monthly mixers, and Bridge City Atlanta is right behind them. I'm planning to be in both cities at the top of the year, and if you're local, I'd love to connect with you in person. If you're new here, head over to bridgecity.app/hello. Everything you need to get started is right there. Introduce yourself in the new member introductions area, jump into the comments, and start a conversation. Community starts when people stop watching and start connecting. And one last note, we see our global family growing. Different cities, different countries, even different languages. Very soon, you'll hear welcome in more than one language around here, because this community truly belongs to all of us. All right, let's get into today's news. All right, Bridge City, before we jump in, let's take a moment for what's happening around the community, because what we're building doesn't stop at the conversation, it shows up in real life. Just yesterday, we hosted our first global roundtable led by Essence, and it was incredible. Maybe you'll get a chance to catch the replay. For those of you who may not know, our Los Angeles chapter typically hosts a weekly roundtable on Saturdays where members share ideas and explore topics across every area of thought. This time, we opened that space up to the entire global community, and the timing couldn't have been better. The topic was Christmas after Christianity, right on time for the holiday season. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the events calendar, because moments like this are how we connect, reflect, and build together across distance. If you're in Atlanta or Los Angeles, I want you to hear this clearly. We're actively preparing to bring Bridge City Live experiences to those cities, and we're looking for people who want to help build, host, and shape what that looks like locally. This isn't about showing up to an event, it's about being a part of the team that helps make it happen. If that's you, join the global campus, introduce yourself, and let us know what city you're in. That introduction is the on-ramp. That's how we find you, connect with you, and begin building together. Quick but important update, I now host weekly office hours every Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. This is a live, open space for real conversation, Q&A, ideas and questions, and anything Bridge City related. You can RSVP and drop in at any moment during that time window. This is me intentionally making myself accessible to you. Your questions, your ideas, and your curiosity matters here. Now, go ahead and mark your calendars. The first Sunday night of January, we're hosting another Bridge City movie night. And this time, we're watching the irreverent classic Dogma. The story follows two fallen angels who discover what they believe is a loophole in Catholic doctrine that could allow them to return to heaven. But if they succeed, it would prove God wrong and undo all of creation. It's thoughtful, provocative, and very on brand for the kind of conversations we enjoy around here. So go ahead and RSVP so it's locked in on your calendar. And speaking of community, we've seen a real surge of new members joining Bridge City this month, and that's something truly worth celebrating. So if you're new, welcome aboard. We're genuinely glad you're here, and we're glad to have you a part of the crew. Now, one of the most important first steps in Bridge City is introducing yourself. Community does not form in silence, it forms when people are seen and known. When you take a moment to post in the new member introduction section, it helps us welcome you well, connect you with others, and make this space feel human from the start. So don't skip that step. Introduce yourself, let us celebrate you, and step into Bridge City in true Bridge City fashion. If you're ready to be more hands-on in making Sunday sessions happen, there are a few ways you can plug in right now. The Weekend Warriors Club is where you can explore both on-stage and off-stage hosting opportunities. The Comms Club is perfect for those interested in writing, messaging, and scripting. And of course, the Production Club is where behind the scenes and technical roles come to life. These are the spaces where collaboration turns into impact as we continue to build our weekend experience. And finally, if you're interested in hosting a watch party in your home or your city, let us know. We'll help you plan it, promote it, and make it happen. Just hop into the global campus, introduce yourself, and reach out to our head of community. Bridge City, community doesn't grow by accident, it grows by participation. Thank you for showing up and staying engaged. Let's get into the conversation. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry Xmas, Happy Festivus, Happy Kwanzaa, all of that stuff, Happy Hanukkah, everything that's coming up that you do for ritual, that you do for meaning, that you do for support, that you do for community. I hope you're having a merry one, a happy one, a thrilled one, a secular one, whatever else you need to have. Most importantly, that is humanist, or like the way that I like to say, it's one of our values here at Bridge City, people centric. Whatever you're doing, man, I hope it revolves around your relationship with people. How are y'all feeling out there? As for me, I don't know if you can tell, man. I feel really good today. I feel so honored, man, to have just an incredible team developing here at Bridge City. It's so amazing. Our Sunday sessions are just giving off that right vibe. I love all of our people, man. Can y'all give a major shout out to our head of production, our production team of one right now, which is Zernio Shackelford. Y'all have seen him on the channel before. I've interviewed him in conversation, but he's really taken the production aspect. And I mean, bruh, man, put in a lot of work into what you all just saw. And so I just want to echo what was in the news, in the Bridge City news segment, man. Like, hey, if you want to become a part of what we do and how we make these sessions happen, this is just the beginning. Like, this is, oh my goodness, wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that introduction amazing? Y'all don't have me being excited by myself now. Like, but to me, that was absolutely amazing. All right, listen, I'm so happy to have you all here. Are y'all ready for this? Like, we've been in flight school for the past few weeks now. Today is part 4. And I got to be honest with you, I have enjoyed this series so much. Last week, I got up from this desk on fire because that conversation felt so good, man, dealing with this idea of emergency row protocol. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, and today I feel like we're gonna take it a step further. And so I'm excited that you're with us today. Are y'all ready to jump in? I'm trying to make sure I ain't missing anything. I was telling my wife this morning, and I was telling Zernio when we were in the studio, which I like. I'm probably gonna be mentioning Zernal a lot today, just because I'm so surprised, or not even surprised. I'm just so amazed and honored at the amount of work that this brother's put in. I jumped in the studio yesterday, just to add some slides in, and just saw him working in the background in the studio. And as a person who is a visionary, as a person who knows that, like, we're building something from scratch here. We're building something out of the mud. Like, we're pulling it straight out the mud, like, literally. And when you walk into your stuff, and it's even harder when you're virtual, but you walk into your stuff and you see other people actually working on things, man, it's beautiful. I got to jump in yesterday on the global roundtable and just sit in for a few minutes. I was spending a little time with the family yesterday, so I don't always get that. So I do try to prioritize it. But just to sit in on the round table and hear it led by one of our members, Essence, who's been rocking with us for a while. and to see so many people from different parts of the globe participate in that conversation, that's amazing. That's what community does, and that's what we're here for. Those are the things that truly bring tears to my eyes and bring joy to my heart. I'm so glad that so many of you are with us today. Are y'all ready? Let's jump into this, man. Let's jump into this. Have you ever seen someone experiencing a panic attack? Maybe you've had a panic attack or two before yourself. I know um, I've had quite a few that I didn't even know were panic attacks until after I had deconverted and was allowed to use the language to be like, oh, okay, now I see what this is. Like I remember one time in particularly that I didn't even realize, watch this, I didn't even realize that it was a panic attack until this year. Earlier this year, when I went to speak at NanoCon and I got to participate in a secular therapy type of conversation with Dr. Janine, who I've also had on the channel for conversation. And we were talking about things. And I remember this time, my church had just moved into a middle school, Girard Middle School. We had probably been there a few weeks. And the way my schedule was, and I'm not blaming this on anybody because I now realize it's part of my personality. It's a flaw and a feature. You know what I'm saying? It's a bug and a feature, but a part of my personality is that I'm hyper productive. That's not new. So I'd get up like at 4 o'clock in the morning, be at the school at 5 o'clock in the morning to make sure everything was set up, and to be able to meet my production team, who would typically get there about 6 o'clock in the morning, because I didn't want them like, stumbling over chairs and stuff and kid stuff. And then of course we'd have transform that school into our, little community environment. And we do that. And so we have been doing that for weeks. And I think something had happened where maybe my main musician had called out. So we had to do a lot of stuff last minute, and I powered through the service and everything. But I remember we were getting home. I was sitting in the passenger side of the vehicle, and I could not move. I'm supposed to get out of the car, and I could not move. I couldn't get out of the car. I just couldn't move. And so they had to take me to the hospital, and they checked on me and couldn't find anything wrong with me. They tried to do sleep therapy and stuff like this. And the big point is, at the time, I didn't have the language to call that a panic attack. And so the question I ask is, have you ever seen someone experiencing a panic attack? It can be a quite surreal moment, because panic doesn't look the same for everybody. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes someone is pacing, hands moving, words spilling over each other too fast to catch. But sometimes it's tears, just out of nowhere, no clear explanation, just emotion flooding the surface. And then other times it can be anger or moments of rage where you're snapping at people who are just trying to help. You find yourself getting defensive or even pulling away. And sometimes it looks like someone trying to leave a room and not knowing where to go. Standing up, sitting back down, standing up again. You can see it in their body before they can explain it in their words. They're overwhelmed. Everything at that moment feels urgent. Everything feels like it needs to be handled right now. And people around them don't always know what to do, right? You've been there, you've seen it. You don't always know what to do. Some people start asking questions. What happened? What went wrong? Why are you upset? What's bothering you? And others may start offering solutions. Baby, just calm down, relax. You're surrounded. You got friends here. You're overthinking it. But if you've ever been there, if you've witnessed it, you'll realize that none of it lands, because in that moment, the problem isn't information, okay? In that moment, the problem isn't explanation. The problem is regulation. Oh, I hope y'all are ready for this conversation today. And because sometimes you think what you need is information. You think if I just had more information, I'd be in a better position. Oh man, no. If someone just explained it to me better, then maybe I wouldn't be this horrified. Oh my goodness, I've seen so many people jump from guru to guru, from mentor to mentor, from echo chamber to echo chamber, looking for somebody to explain it better or looking for some new information. And I hate to quote an old dusty book, but I have lived long enough to find out that there's really nothing new under the sun. And many times you will think what you need is some new information. You'll think what you need is a better explanation. But if you've ever witnessed a panic attack, if you've ever had a panic attack, sometimes the information doesn't even change the situation. The explanation has no impact on the motivation. What is needed at that moment isn't even better understanding what I need from you right now. What you need from yourself right now is regulation. Boy, I wish I had Nate Dogg and Warren G here today so they could regulate. Are we I'm in the introduction. Is this good yet, y'all? Is this good? No, what's needed at that moment is regulation. And you'll see it sometimes when someone steps in and this person they're not louder, not more forceful, not more clever. They didn't have something more wise to say. They didn't have something better to say. They just got close enough to be heard. This is something that I've had to learn as a parent. I have a naturally deep voice, and I grew up watching people who have deep voices use them. I watched James Avery on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air use that big boisterous voice. Like I watched that. I learned how to use my voice. I grew up watching Lawrence Fishburne and Samuel L. Jackson. That's why there's so many motherfuckers that live within me, because of Sam. You can thank Uncle Sam for that. That's the only Uncle Sam I recognize. You can thank his ass. All of his motherfuckers have now become my motherfuckers. There's a few Bernie Mac motherfuckers in there too, and maybe a few Richard Pryor motherfuckers. Okay, I just come from a long line of motherfuckers now that I think about it. But the point is, as a parent, I've had to realize, like, especially when my children were younger, that it's very easy to create an unfair advantage to the other parent in the household if I'm always using the boasterity of my voice to get my point across. And I also begin to realize that that's not even the most effective way. So what you begin to do is to get not louder, but closer. I hope this is helping somebody already. Damn, this is good. So I learned how to get not louder, but closer. Let me get down on your level. Let me look in your eyes. Even sometimes when my oldest was first born and you're trying to learn how to, like, damn, why did the babies cry so damn much? Why are you crying? Please stop crying. Samuel L. Jackson had a great book that he read called Go to Fuck to Sleep. Anybody ever been there? If you've never been a parent, you don't know what that feels like. But you begin to realize that sometimes the most effective thing you can do is to get close enough to be heard. A whisper, hey, I'm here. So sometimes when you're witnessing that panic attack, it's not always the loudest person that gets through. It's not the smartest person that gets through. It's not the person with the most experience that gets through. It's the person who gets close enough to be heard. And right in the middle of all of that chaos, all of that urgency, all of that overwhelming, all of that stimulation and impulse, they say something very simple. And I think this is a great opportunity to drop to the name of today's conversation. They say, take a breath. Oh my goodness. Listen, if you're not too mean, if you're not too bougie, if you're not too stuck up, if you're not too ghetto, if you're not too redneck, if you're not too hood, I don't know what it is you is, but whatever label other people have tried to lock you into, if you're not too it, if you're breaking out of everybody else's boxes today, would you go ahead and drop that in the chat? Go ahead and drop it in the chat real quick. Take a breath. Encourage somebody, admonish somebody, advise somebody, push somebody this morning. Give them that reminder. Take a breath. If you see somebody in the chat that go ahead and get real bold with it and tag their ass and say, hey, you need to take a breath. Take a breath. That's going to be where our conversation is happening today. Take a Take a breath, breathe, man. Just breathe. One time, my baby sister was over our house. This is when we were living in the house before we moved here. So this is a few years ago. My baby sister was over the house, and we had some boiled peanuts that she had brought in a bag, and it was like boiled peanuts and sausages and some other stuff. It was like a boiled peanut boil, and I'd never seen a boiled peanut boil before. I'm like, I want to taste this. So she went in the kitchen and she, put it in the pot and was warming it up. Then she came back outside with me and was chilling outside with me. And I probably got to talking because once I smoked a few blunts, I could talk a little bit. So I probably got to talking, and then she ran back in the house, and then she realized that the stuff was burning, and she was just like, oh. And she wasn't necessarily having a panic attack, but she was panicking. And she was panicking because she thought for sure, like, damn it, I done burnt my brother's pot. And I guess people always they treat me like I'm bougie or something. So they probably thought I was gonna go crazy over that damn pot. And I mean, she was crying. She was, I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, chill, take a breath. Take a breath. Just breathe. And so I just want to encourage everybody, just even before we get into the meat of what we're dealing with today, I just want to encourage everybody, man, take a breath. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you're dealing with, take a breath. Take a moment to breathe. And I would like to spend about 20 to 30 minutes of your time, if you'll let me, unpacking why I think this is a relevant and a timely conversation. Forgive me for not having something Christmas related to talk about today. Again, I was joking about it with Zernial this morning, and it kind of felt good. It's kind of liberating because I remember being a pastor. It's Christmas time. It's like, damn it, next Sunday is the Sunday before Christmas. I got to preach about that fucking baby again. Like, nobody wants to preach about baby Jesus. That's the most boring version of Jesus ever. You don't get any good preach material out of the baby. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I feel like this is like prime stand-up comedy work. All right. So, but there's freedom. So next year, I got y'all. Next year for our November and December conversation series. This is how far in advance I plan, y'all. But next year for the November and December conversation series, we're going to be doing Home for the Holidays. And in November, we're going to do something real creative. For November, we're going to be talking from titles like Family Matters, Step by Step, Living Single, Full House. Like we're going to use these titles to have conversations around some real holiday issues. But then December, we're going to be having conversations like Home Alone. We're going to have a conversation called The Santa Claus. Oh, y'all ain't ready. No. And then we're going to have a conversation called Trading Places, because that's a Christmas movie. It is. And then we're gonna have a conversation called Die Hard, because that's a Christmas movie too, and argue with your mama about it, because I'm not here for it. All right, so let's jump into this. Let me ask you a question that most of us never stop to consider. At what point did surviving become the same thing as living? Because many of us are functional but depleted, capable but exhausted, responsible. Oh man, you so responsible, but running on empty. We keep telling ourselves we'll rest later, we'll slow down later, we'll take care of ourselves when things calm down. But I want to ask you something that maybe you've never given yourself permission to ask yourself before, but you come here for real conversations, for relevant conversations, for conversations that's motivation without the bullshit. So I want to ask you something. What if calm never comes? Is that something you've ever allowed yourself to think about before? What if calm never comes? You keep telling yourself, I'll rest when it's calm. I'll take care of myself when it's calm. I'll do what's best for me when it's calm. But I want to give you the sober reminder. I want to be like that little red guy on your shoulder. See, I wore the red today. I want to be the red guy. What if calm isn't coming? What if calm is a part of the illusion? Damn it, y'all ain't ready for this. Okay, see, y'all like to play with the Morpheus stuff. I got Morpheus back there. What if calm is the illusion of the Matrix? What if calm is what you go to when you ain't paying attention? What if calm is what you default to when you're desensitized? What if calm? Damn, am I preaching better than y'all responding? I think I am. What if calm never comes? Okay. Today isn't about doing less. It's about staying whole while doing what matters. Oh my goodness, I want to be good. I want to be clear at the beginning because clarity determines what you take from this. This is not a conversation about comfort. It's gonna feel like it at some times. You're gonna feel real comfortable. You're gonna feel real confident. But this is not a conversation about comfort. It's not a conversation about slowing down because life feels hard. It's a conversation about sustainability. It's about what it actually takes to stay present, to stay responsible, and to stay effective in a world that doesn't stop applying pressure. And I don't know how many years you've been on this planet, but hello, my name is Darante. Welcome to planet Earth, where we never stop applying pressure. As long as you're here, the pressure never stops. It's like that's one of the things that hit me like a ton of bricks once I deconverted. Once I completely deconverted and then started deconstructing, I realized that perpetual motion at this moment is still a myth. In other words, there is not this opportunity where you just do one thing and it take care of everything else. Michael Jordan ain't Michael Jordan if he can just dunk the ball once. It's not just being able to do it one time. If you learn something about this life, it's what you can do over and over and over and over again. Why? Because I don't want to be the one to hurt your feelings. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. But at this moment, because there is no perpetual motion, welcome to physics class, because there is no perpetual motion, there's not a moment in life where life is not applying pressure. No. I think when I was writing one of my first books, it's not even one that I'm proud of, but Parenting on Purpose. One of the revelations that I came across, one of the realizations that I came across was one of the worst things you could ever do as a parent is to bring your child in this world without push. No, even when they coming into this world, you've got to push them to get them here. One of the greatest gifts you could give to your children is the gift of pushing. Why? Because you've brought them into a world that doesn't stop applying pressure. So again, I ask you, what if calm never comes? If calm never comes, when are you gonna breathe, baby? If calm never comes and you keep putting breathing off, whew, what are you doing to your life expectancy? Damn, this is good. Oh, snap. I wish we were in the room together. Don't worry, Atlanta, LA, we're gonna make that shit happen. Okay, so if you plan on building anything that lasts, your life, your family, your community, whatever it is, you have to learn how to take care of yourself without stepping away from responsibility. Most of us have heard this so many times, we don't even listen to it anymore. But if there's an emergency on the plane, the mask will typically drop. Right, the emergency on the plane, they'll tell you right when you get on the plane, before the emergency ever happens, even long before the emergency ever happens, because emergency may or may not happen on your plane, but emergencies are inevitable. And so it's good for everybody to be prepared. So they tell you at the beginning of the flight that, hey, something might pop off. And if something pops off, these are going to drop down. The masks are going to drop. And the instruction is simple. Some of y'all already know where I'm going with this. Some of you should already know where I'm going with this. The instructions are simple. If you know the instructions, drop them in the chat. What they say the mask will drop and then put your own mask on first, right? Put your own oxygen mask on first before attempting to assist anyone else. Not because you matter more than anybody else, but because if you can't breathe, You can't help. Okay. Let that settle in. They want you to understand that, hey, if anything goes down, the moment those masks drop, you've got to put your mask on yourself first. And this is not about treating you like you better than anybody else. This is not first class privileges. This is not something you're getting because you're in the emergency row. This is instructions that are going to everybody. Like, put your mask on first, because if you can't breathe, you can't help. Damn, that was good. That felt like bars. No, if I can't breathe, I can't help. I can't help. This is why, even earlier in this year, I started taking less and less and less opportunities, because I was getting into a place where I can't breathe. And if I can't breathe, I can't help. And unlike some people, I ain't naming nobody, unlike some people, I've made it very clear that the reason I left the church world is because I didn't want to pretend to help while not actually helping. No, I am here to help. But in order for me to help, that also means, come on now, somebody has to catch this. If I am here to help, I am by default here to breathe. Okay, because if I can't, y'all better talk to me. If I can't breathe, if you can't breathe, you can't help. Now, this isn't about selfishness, it's about survival. This instruction only works because it assumes something most of us don't like to sit with. It assumes that when the air gets thin, that no one else can do this part for you. Not first, not fully, and not in the time you need. You have got to stop waiting on other people to prioritize you better than you can. Oh shit, that was good. You have got to stop. Can I say it one more time? Can I say it one more time? Can I get a hell yeah? If this is good and I can say it one more time, let me get a hell yeah. Jalapeno. You have got to stop assuming, and you've got to stop putting people in a position where they can prioritize you better than you. Nobody else has a God's eye view of your life. You have to put your priorities there. Nobody else gets to pick your boundaries. Nobody else gets to pick your barriers. Nobody else gets to pick your limitations. Oh, I hope this is helping somebody else. No, it starts with me. You know, we used to tell people back in the day, you got to treat people how to love you. How do you treat people how to love you? By loving yourself so well that nobody else can compare. And so they already know they coming in number two in your life, because can't nobody love me better than me. And so if you want advice on how to love me, don't go to your mama, don't go to your sister, don't go to your friends, don't go to your cousin names. You better come talk to me, because I am the expert on me. No one else can do this part for you. Jalapeno, habanero, hell yeah. No one else can do this part for you. Not first and not in time. This assumes that survival begins at the point where assistance has not arrived yet. Oh my goodness. I remember 2017 sitting with myself in a single wide trailer with my family of six, two bedrooms, single wide trailer with my family of six. My wife and I redid the floors ourselves because I had jumped and went through the damn floor and could feel all the things. Ah, shit. You see, I jumped, feel everything. Because, like, when I went through the floor, it's a single wide trailer. Okay. So when you go through the floor, it's just the grass under there and all the creepy crawlies. Hey, shit, that don't even feel good. And all the creepy crawlies and shit that are under there. Like, you know, and I was sitting there. And I had to come to a harsh realization about my life, because I'm like, bro, what's going on? Why are you in this predicament? And let's be honest with yourself. This isn't the first time you've been here. You've been here a few times. And how many more times you gonna visit this place before you decide that you don't want to see this place anymore? You a smart person, figure this shit out. What is going on? And I had to be real honest with myself and have that hard lesson. And like, oh, I've been living my life like something is on the way that isn't on the way. You know that there used to be this little gospel song say, "Help is on the way. Help is on the way." And I realized that help is on the way had got me in a posture where I was always waiting on help. And then you combine that with superstitious ideology. You combine that with doctrinal theology, where you have a God who never fails, even though he never wins. You have a God who never lost a battle, even though he never showed up to fight. Maybe that's the reason he never lost a battle. Anyway, but you have these ways of looking at the world where your whole idea becomes somebody else is going to come and help me. Help is on the way. And let me show you. Now, I'm not anti-help. Oh no, please don't get me wrong. I got a whole series coming up called How to Help. I'm not anti-help, but I do want to show you something that I want you to be careful of, because it is so insidious when you get trapped into that help is on the way posture, that someday my big break is coming, that somebody is going to open doors for me, that somebody is going to lift me up, that somebody else is going to write me a check, that somebody else is going to finally come and support me, that somebody else is finally going to come and make me somebody. The insidious aspect of that is that you stop believing that you can be you better than you. You start believing that somebody else can do with you better than you can. That's the insidious part of that. But reality happens, man. Reality happens when you begin to realize that survival begins at the point where assistance has not arrived yet, where you have to ask yourself the hard questions. What will I do if nobody shows up? That was my conversation with myself in 2017. Darante, you've been waiting. I don't remember how old I was at that time, but I was in my 30s for sure. So, Darante, you've been waiting 30 something years for a family to show up that's likely never coming. I'm not saying, Darante, I'm not saying they never coming. I'm just saying they likely never coming. And just the fact that you know they likely never coming, shouldn't that change something about the way you're navigating? Because if they never coming and you sitting here operating like they gonna one day show up, you're gonna be sitting here by yourself waiting for something that's never gonna happen. And so why are you so afraid to let it go? Why are you so afraid to face the harsh reality that calm may never come? Why are you so afraid to embrace the reality that that support system may not be there? Why you are afraid? And then you got to deal with, oh, I'm afraid because I don't think I'm enough. I'm afraid because I can't do it without them. But survival begins at the point where assistance has not arrived. It's a sobering thing to have to think through, talk through, walk yourself through, but it's a powerful reality. It's uncomfortable because many of us were raised to believe that help is always coming, that someone is a sign, that there is a system, that there is a plan, that there is a backup. But this instruction, put your own mask on first, it does not promise rescue, it assumes responsibility. It quietly acknowledges that there are moments where the most important work, is not saving others, it's staying conscious long enough to matter. And I gotta say it again because that itches all of us the wrong way, because so many of us have a martyr complex and a savior syndrome. And I just be wanting to stand on the beach of those shores and say, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. No. So at some points, the work is not saving others. That's not the work of priority. It's staying conscious long enough to matter. And that means that there are things in this life that cannot be delegated, cannot be deferred, and cannot be done on your behalf. Which brings me to our first point of today's conversation. Are y'all ready for this? Your survival cannot be outsourced. No, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before. This is why you come somewhere on Sunday for some secular inspiration, because you don't want nobody lying to you. You don't want nobody giving you the cereal version. What's the cereal version? The fruit, nuts, and flakes version. Nope, you want the real deal. And the real deal is that your survival cannot be outsourced. Nope. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Nobody can take care of you better than you can. All right. And that might be a little bit of slave mentality to think that. You might want to do some work on that. Okay. You out here looking for a whole massa. Your survival cannot be outsourced. There is an unspoken truth that is rarely highlighted in this admonition. Ain't nobody coming to put your mask on. That's what they telling you. When the flight attendants, when they do this nice little demonstration and they being so nice and they so polite, when they tell you, hey, when the mask drop, put your own on first. What they are also telling you at the same time is, baby, there is not one person on this plane who was assigned to come help you breathe. Okay. There is not one person on this vessel who was assigned to stop by and do a road check and say, hey, you got your mask on? Can I put that on for you? No. When the mask come down, when the shit goes down, I need you to understand that ain't nobody coming to put your mask on. Now, see, there are levels to this, right? So for many of us who may identify as atheists or agnostics or even deists in this context, it's the realization of no cosmic intention, no intervention or intuition, no cosmic intention managing this moment for you, no divine intervention scheduled for you, no supernatural intuition stepping in at the last second to make a way out of no way, no late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around and around and around. No. You begin to realize that nobody else is coming to put my mask on. Even on an everyday level, it's the realization that no one else has been assigned to mask me up. You out here struggling to breathe, and you like, when is somebody else just gonna give me a moment to take a breath? Baby, taking a breath is your responsibility. Ain't nobody coming to mask you up. No, okay, this is why you gotta protect your breath. This is why you gotta protect your breath, because there's no one assigned to come and mask you up. There's no attendant assigned to your lungs. There's no system designated to catch you when the air gets thin. There's no system tasked with keeping you regulated when the air gets thin. Remember, I told you this is not about information. This is not about explanation. What is this about? This is about regulation. And I just want to talk to some folk who have been like, I've been trying everything I can to get ahead. I've been trying everything I can to get out of this hole. I've been trying everything I can to change my life, and nothing seems to work. I'm here to tell you, maybe the problem isn't your information. Maybe the problem isn't the explanation. Maybe the problem is regulation, how you regulate yourself when the air gets thin. There is no external force responsible for making sure you stay conscious when the pressure hits. That part is yours. Self-regulation is your responsibility. Whew. Is this good? Self-regulation is your responsibility. This is why I keep fools out of my space. You know, some people, they say stuff like, be my peace. I don't need anybody to be my peace. I'm already a peaceful motherfucker. Look at all this peace. You see that? I don't need anybody to be my peace. Respect my peace. Oh, is that good? No, no, don't be my peace. See, I brought my own peace to the party. I bring my own happy with me. Me and all the voices in my head. We gonna be all right. I don't need nobody to be my peace. I need you to respect my peace, because this peace is the product of self-regulation. Okay. I've learned how to have my mask with me at all times. I'm gonna take a breather. I'm gonna take a breather. That's one thing you know about a smoker. A smoker gonna take their break. They gonna take their break. Y'all ain't ready. What is unspoken yet understood is that if the mask drops, we're all in the same state of emergency. This is the same thing that we often forget. What is understood is that if the masks drop, we're all in the same state of emergency. There's no special section, no exempt row. There's no one floating above the situation. And I don't know, man, for me, deconverting was kind of like being on a plane. You know, like prior to deconverting, I'm on this plane, I'm sleeping, I'm real good, everything is going good. And then deconverting and deconstructing is like being on a plane and everything goes good. You know, you thinking everything is going good. And then right at the moment of deconstruction, the mask drops. It's like waking up on a plane and realizing that there's no pilot. You know, it's for me, and this isn't everybody, it's just for me. It's getting a sense of depth of clarity that we are all in this emergency situation together. The one thing that has become clear to me is that we're all on the same floating rock. We're all in the same predicament, same atmosphere, same fragility, same uncertainty. Life itself is the emergency. Listen to that. So I don't think we often realize that, because I struggled with doing this one. I struggled with this conversation because, you know, oh man, talking about when the mask drop, put your own oxygen mask on first. That's not very practical, because this is about an emergency situation. But life itself is the emergency. Being alive in a world that is more than you can comprehend. Being alive in a world that is bigger than your understanding, faster than your control, and heavier than your capacity. That's the condition that we're all navigating. We've taken our ability to organize ourselves for granted for so long that we've forgotten that for 99% of life on this planet, life is the emergency. We've just gotten really good at hiding it. For most of life on this planet, survival has always been the central task. We've just changed what threatened us. It's not the cheetahs in the savannah anymore. It's the bills and the capitalism. It's not the snakes in the grass now. It's the debt tied to necessity. We may be running from different things, but we're still running. We're dressed better. We're housed better, but a lot of us are still barely breathing. We're looking better, but still barely breathing. Don't you dare judge those books by those covers, baby. They may live in better neighborhoods, may drive better houses, may eat better food, but you don't know who's out there barely breathing. We are all on this hamster wheel together. One of the coldest lines that has come out of this conversation series has been unapologetically, the airline is your carrier, not your caregiver. Like there, it hurt me when I said it 2 weeks ago. The airline is your carrier, not your caregiver. It's a hard thing to remind ourselves that, damn it, I'm still responsible for self-care. I'm still responsible for me. It is so easy to try to outsource your survival, but I am here as a reminder that shit cannot be outsourced. You're still responsible for self-care. Stop waiting for them to get it. Stop waiting for them to realize it. Stop waiting for them to give you time. Take your time. Stop waiting for them to give you breath. Take your breath. This cannot be outsourced. And the reason why is because we're all in this emergency together. Okay, they struggling for air just as much as you are. That's why they're not going to be able to remember to remind you to catch your breath. So you got to remember, like, oh snap, I gotta get me. When I say the airline is your carrier, not your caregiver, I'm not saying no one cares. I'm saying care has limitations. The airline can care enough to get you from one place to another. It can care enough to build the aircraft safely. It can care enough to train the crew and set protocols that keep you secure, but it cannot breathe for you. There are a lot of people in your life that can do a lot of things for you. They can love you. They can support you. They can encourage you. They can pat you on the back. They can tell you, job well done, but they cannot breathe for you. A lot of people can open doors. They can write checks. They can give you opportunities. They can get you into jobs, but they cannot breathe for you. There is a line where infrastructure ends and responsibility begins, a point where systems support but do not substitute, where help exists, but only if you're still conscious enough to receive it. Oh man, anybody ever been there before where you were so caught up, so unconscious, where you couldn't even receive help? See, that's not cruelty, that's reality. And it matters because we are not navigating isolated emergencies. We are sharing one. Okay? Jalapeno. We're not navigating isolated emergencies. We are sharing an emergency. It's the same air, it's the same pressure, it's the same vulnerability, which means no one gets to collapse and call it compassion, and no one gets to neglect themselves and call it sacrifice. The days of sacrifice are over and done with. We've watched that show. We went to that play. We participated in that party. We did not like the fucking prizes. We are shifting from sacrifice to strategy. Okay, no. We don't need better sacrifices. We need better strategy, because when you lose your breath, you don't just affect you reduce the capacity of the whole system. I said it last week. It's in that song that lady wrote that I just never liked the song, but I love the words, and that is that there are no extra people. You reduce the capacity of the whole system. That's why I want you to be your best self. I'm selfish with this shit because I'm not a sacrifice. Okay. That's why people are mad at me now, because they thought I was gonna be the sacrifice. And I'm like, oh no, I'm done with that shit. I'm nobody's sacrifice. Sacrifice your mammy. Okay. I'm not doing that shit. Get the fuck away from me with that. No, who the fuck is this? No. Sacrifice is not an act of love. It's an act of control. You know what I'm saying? Nah. No, I ain't sacrificing shit. Strategy, baby. Strategy. So in this, because I want you to hear my whole heart. I'm saying this shit with my whole chest. I want you to be better so I can be better. This shit is selfish for me. I want you to be better so my kids can be better. This shit is selfish for me. Okay? Oh, damn. It's basic math. The more people we have living as their best selves, the less people we have fucking with other folk. That's the math. The more people, this is why I show up every Sunday, because if I can find a few miserable folk and make them a little less miserable, if I can find a few folk who are ready at this moment on the edge of risking it all, talk to me and give them something worth holding on to, a rational reason to keep moving forward. No, I'm going to do that because that's going to get me better outcomes. I'm selfish with it. I want my kids to live in a world of fully formed, functional people. I want my kids to live in a world where they are with other people who understand that a bad day doesn't mean a bad life. So that one of my children don't lose their life because somebody had a bad day. So I'm using my voice and my mind to help people realize that you are capable. You are more than enough in most cases. And so I want to see everybody at their best, because when you are not, you reduce the capacity of the whole system. Shit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get this deep. Self-care isn't indulgence in moments like this. It's participation. Staying regulated is staying present. It's staying able. That's how shared emergencies are survived, not by heroics. We've got to kill this hero culture in our reality. It's beautiful in our fiction. But when it becomes a part of our reality, we're either making ourselves someone else's martyr, or we're martyring someone else to make ourselves feel better. But shared emergencies are survived through sharing the emergency by people who remain functional. Which brings me to my second point of today's conversation. If y'all are enjoying this, can I get a hell yeah? Your breath is your priority. We should have Beyonce up here singing, "Gotta catch my breath." I think she was saying "lose my breath," but you know. When the air gets thin, care for yourself. You know? It sounds counterintuitive. It sounds backwards even. It sounds selfish even. But when the air gets thin, baby, care for yourself first. Not as indulgence, not as escape, not as a reward, but as preservation. Love yourself enough to want to be here. Love yourself enough to want to preserve you. Don't wait for somebody else to have that love for you. Prioritize that love for yourself. Who told you that you got to wait for somebody else to love you right? Who told you that you got to wait for somebody else to prioritize you? Quite honestly, and I'm being real. I'm going to look into the main camera. Quite honestly, I'm being real. I didn't become nothing until I stopped waiting on other people to see me as something. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally, like, who told you you need permission to be great? Who told you you need affirmation to be loved? Who told you you need anybody else's support to be peaceful in your own home? No, these are all things you can give to yourself, but you got to remember that you can. You got to remember that you are worth preserving, that you are worth protecting. Why are you bowing up at me like this? Because I am worth protecting. Jalapeno. Well, why you just won't apologize when we want you to apologize? Because I am worth preserving. And when it comes to me, I don't check with you on what's best with me. I check with me because I am worth preserving. I want you to, like, consider adopting that as a practice, that before you do anything, check with yourself. Is this something I really want to do? Mhm. Once I realized I was mature enough to live with my consequences, I realized I was mature enough to make my own choices. Well, this might happen. I'll handle that if that happens. Oh, y'all ain't ready. This is, listen, self care in moments like this, it isn't a lifestyle choice, it's survival functionality. It's bigger than responsibility. You can't save the plane if you can't breathe. I'm sorry. There are rooms you've seen me step away from because I realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to breathe here. When things first start kicking off with my channel, there was a large organization that wanted me to be a part of their stuff, but then they were like, hey, in order for you to be on here, you can't do Sunday shows on your own channel. And I was like, I can't breathe. Oh shit, I can't breathe. I can't be in here because I'm gonna need to be able to breathe. I'm gonna need to be able to breathe. Jalapeno. You know, you can't help anybody if you can't breathe. I couldn't do what I do if folks if I would let other folks control when I breathe and when I don't. You know, I've walked away from opportunities that other people would die for, which I don't know why, because breathing is more important to me than anything. That's not philosophy, that's physics. If you're gasping for air, everything else becomes noise. Hear me well right now. Hear me well. If you can't breathe, everything else is a distraction. If you can't breathe, everything else is a distraction. For everything that's trying to get your attention, ask yourself, like, what are my oxygen levels like right now? If you can't breathe, everything else is a distraction. Your breath is your priority. If you can't breathe, I am watching so many people destroy their lives because you don't realize, like, if you can't breathe, baby, that thing they trying to pull you into, that's a distraction. You need to focus on breathing. You need to focus on putting your mask on. Right now, that's a distraction. When you can, and it's people preying on our sense of smallness, on our sense of limitation, on our sense of being finite. If I don't do something now, then I won't be able to do anything. No, baby, if you don't breathe now, you won't be able to do anything. If you can't breathe, is this hard? Is this hard? Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way, okay? You are out in the middle of an ocean and you see a cruise ship sinking. All right? Oh, this is too good. Damn it, this is too good. You are in the middle of the ocean and you see a cruise ship sinking. Your heart goes out to him. You hear the crying, you hear the screaming, you see the fucking Titanic going down. But in the middle of that moment, you also realize that your ass can't swim. And you are in the middle of an ocean. If you can't breathe, everything else is a distraction. You've got to breathe first. Your good intentions are often harming others and yourself. If you can't breathe, everything else is a distraction. Purpose becomes a distraction. Convictions become background chatter. Even good intentions lose their usefulness because breath is a gatekeeper. I know this feels counterintuitive. The plane is shaking, the alarms are loud, the world looks like it's spiraling, and we don't even got to stay metaphorically right now. For many of you, this is literal. This is literal. You're looking at the world and you like, this motherfucker is going down. The masks have dropped. The flight attendants are panicking. The pilot has gotten sick on his buttons. You know, panic tells you to rush. Urgency tells you to skip steps. But skipping breath doesn't make you faster. It makes you sick. And some of you wondering right now, like, why do I feel so depleted? Because, baby, you can't skip breath like you skip meals. Movement without oxygen isn't action, it's reaction. And even dead bodies react. Reaction rarely helps anyone. If you can't breathe, you can't help. So the first step to saving anything, whether it's your family, whether it's your community, whether it's your future, whether it's our shared future, the first step isn't good strategy. It's breath. Take a breath, not to avoid reality, not to numb out, but to stay present enough to respond with clarity. That's why caring for yourself isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's choosing to stay regulated when chaos is loud. It's choosing to remain functional when everything else is fraying. It's choosing to stay in the moment long enough to matter. But here's the turn we have to make. Because once you understand how vital breath is for you, once you recognize how fragile capacity really is, it should change how you treat other people as well. Because the person next to you may not be lazy. They might be oxygen deprived. They might not be unmotivated. They might be overwhelmed. The people in your life who you've been depending on might not be failing you. They might be struggling to breathe, which brings me to point number 3, I think. Let them people breathe. Sometimes people can't do for you what you expect them to do, not because they don't care, not because they're unreliable, not because they're trying to disappoint you, but because they're struggling with their oxygen masks too. And I get it. You live in a world that convinced you that they were supposed to have their shit together. You live in a world that convinced you that there are people doing better than you. But the reality is, no matter what it looks like, no matter how much it shines, sometimes disappointment comes from other people who are just struggling to breathe. And I'm not saying you got to tolerate it. I'm not saying you got to deal with it. I am saying that you might want to learn to start putting your mask on first. Because maybe they're not ignoring you. Maybe they're regulating themselves. Maybe they're not withholding support. Maybe they're trying to stay conscious. And this matters because we often personalize what is actually physiological and situational. We assume neglect when it might be depletion. We assume apathy when it might be overwhelm. We assume someone is failing us when they're just barely holding themselves together. Remember, looks better, still barely breathing. And when we forget that, we start demanding breath from people who don't have any to spare. That's how resentment builds. That's how misunderstanding spreads. That's how we turn shared emergencies into isolated battles. Letting people breathe doesn't mean lowering the standards. It means adjusting expectations to reality. It means recognizing that capacity fluctuates, that strength has limits, that everyone you encounter is managing more than you can see. I can get it that sometimes that you're so used to them being the strong friend, but what do you do when the strong friend can't be strong all the time? You let them people breathe. I hope this is helping somebody. Oh, damn. When you begin to move with that type of awareness, you stop assuming that everyone has the same oxygen level. That doesn't make you weaker. You become wiser. You become someone who doesn't confuse exhaustion with indifference. Some people, they're not apathetic. They're just tired, man. There are some people you're misjudging and mistreating. Cause like, why you ain't loud? Why you ain't mad? They tired. They're exhausted. We get it that your ass is late to the fucking party, but some of us realize this country was a fucking shit show decades ago. Welcome to the party. Some people are tired. You know, when you begin to realize that, you become someone who doesn't mistake survival mode for lack of care. When you can look at somebody else and say, oh shit, I see what they're doing. That's something I've been very honest about ever since I've started sharing content on the channel. That hell, I'm in survival mode. I spent nearly 3 decades of my life wasting my fucking time. You think I got time just to make new friends for no reason? No, I didn't come out of the cave to go back into it. No, I wasted time, y'all. I wasted time. I don't answer my phone today. I stopped 2014. I deconstructed, deconverted, stopped answering my phone, period. I got people in the secular community who are pissed off at me because I will not answer my phone for them. And I'm like, motherfucker, if I don't answer the phone for my damn mama, who the fuck is you? No, I don't answer my phone because I wasted nearly 3 decades of time. That's a lot of time. Nearly 3 decades. That's a lot of time. Okay? And I have 4 children. Okay? And I wasted 3 decades. No. Mm-mm. If you calling my phone, you better have an appointment and a good ass reason. Otherwise, you're going to be leaving a message after the beep. Because I am, in the words of Maxine Waters, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. And I am doing more with my time than I've ever done before. So please don't mistake survival mode for lack of care. I'm in survival mode because I care. But I have a continuum of care. Shit. Okay, this is good. This is good, man. Oh, the truth is, most people are not trying to let you down. You know, like I got main character syndrome just like everybody else. You know, I embrace mine. Like I'm the main character in my life. But do you know where that stops at? In other people's lives. I'm not the main character in nobody else's life. Or at least I shouldn't be. I should not be the main character in your life. So once you realize that you're likely not the main character in somebody else's life, 9 times out of 10, they're not doing something to you. 9 times out of 10, the decision they made about you had nothing to do with you. in that fever dream classic, not G.I. Joe, Street Fighter, where they had the Addams Family dad playing Major Bison. There's a scene where Chun-Li, who's been waiting for her revenge her whole life, she been waiting for her revenge against Bison. Bison took everything from her. Bison destroyed her life, took her family, did everything. Okay? And she finally got face to face with that motherfucker. And she's standing there and she's walking Bison through her pathology. She's walking Bison through why she is here and why she is planning to be the arbiter of his death, why she is there to be the carrier of his doom. And she says, on that day, you did this and you did this and you did this and you did all of this to me. And he says, oh, poor child. To you, that must have been the most important day of your life. But for me, it was just a Thursday. Don't be Chun-Li is the point of that story. You are the main character in your story. You are. It was the most important day for her. The mistaken calculations she made was thinking that it was just as impactful for him. And that's often a hard pill to swallow because sometimes people can hurt you in ways that cut so deep. And it doesn't necessarily make you feel better to find out they weren't even trying to. They were just trying to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like you lose your parent to someone who's just trying to survive, it doesn't immediately make you feel better. Man, I hope this is helping somebody. All right, let me get to this last point because we got to go. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this last point? Watch this. Breathing is not just for emergencies. Well, what they got to breathe for? Like they ain't going through that much. Breathing is not just for emergencies. Well, it don't look like things are that bad over there. And breathing is not just for emergencies. Well, honestly, I'm not going through that much right now. Like I really don't. Breathing is not just for emergencies. While yes, this is about emergency protocol. And yes, I do want us to recognize that a major part of the living experience is responding to emergencies. I also want us to remember that breathing is for every day. It's for the ordinary moments, the in-between spaces, the parts of life that don't feel dramatic but quietly wear you down anyway. Because it's easy to live in a constant state of reaction, one thing after another, one demand on top of the next, always bracing for impact. And in all of that, people forget to breathe. Not metaphorically, actually. They stay tense. They stay guarded. They stay clenched. But today, I'm here to remind you to take a breath. It's not just for your survival. It's for your sanity. Jalapeno. It ain't just for your survival. It's for your sanity. Take a breath. That's why breathing has to become a practice, not just a response. And this is really where community matters, because healthy communities don't just mobilize people in crisis. They create space for people to breathe before they break. That's why Bridge City, LA has monthly mixers, not to impress anybody, not to prove productivity, but to give people room to exhale, an opportunity to breathe. That's why the global campus hosts movie nights, game nights, and all this other stuff. Not because entertainment fixes everything, but because shared rest reminds us we're human. That's why our local events prioritize the good of the people in the room. We're not there to yell at people that are not in the room. No, 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 no. If you're at a Bridge City event, we're there to prioritize the good people, the good of the people in the room. We're not there to troll Christians who are not there. We're not there to talk about how bad MAGA people are who are not there. We're not there to talk about what's going to happen in the next election, because none of that is helping people breathe. None of that is putting food on people's table. No, we prioritize the good of the people in the room because we don't want to waste moments where breathing is possible. Yes, we've got some grieving to do, but you've been carrying loss, disappointment, and change for so fucking long that you forgot what it feels like to breathe without guilt. You've been surviving so intensely that rest started to feel irresponsible. But grief needs oxygen too. Yes, Bridge City is a community of builders, man. We work, we organize, we create, but in between the building, we breathe. Because building without breath turns into burnout, and progress without pause becomes collapse. So don't wait for a breakdown to give you permission to take a breath. Don't wait for the next emergency to take your next breath. Breathing isn't just how you survive what's wrong, it's how you stay grounded in what's right. We've been talking about flight. We've talked about readiness. We've talked about responsibility and about what it means to sit in a seat that doesn't cost extra but might require more. And now we've talked about breath, because none of that matters if you can't breathe. You can have vision, you can have values, you can have plans, purpose, and pressure pushing you forward, but if you're running out of air, everything else becomes noise. Everything else becomes a distraction. And maybe that's the real frustration for a lot of you, is that the things that are most important to you are becoming noise. The things that you really want to be passionate about are becoming distractions because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to take a breath. I said life is the emergency. Not because everything is falling apart, but because being alive in a world this complex, this fast, this demanding requires more than us than we were ever really taught to expect. And we've learned something important together. Your survival cannot be outsourced. Your breath is your responsibility. You've got to learn to let them other folk breathe. And breathing isn't just for emergencies. It's an everyday practice. But we've also learned this: you were never meant to breathe alone. Taking a breath doesn't mean stepping away from the world. It means stepping into it with clarity. It means choosing regulation over reaction, presence over panic, and community over isolation. So before we do anything else, before we do any move-ons or sign-ups or taking next steps, I want to invite you to do something simple, something we've been talking about all afternoon, and that is to take a breath. Not because everything is fixed, not because all of the work is done, but because caring for yourself is how you stay in the work. I want you to imagine the sober reality that calm never comes. And that world that means fixed is a figment of our imagination. Never gonna be fixed, just better than today, and hopefully more beneficial than yesterday. This is why breathing is so important now. because the illusion of the work being done is exactly that. It's an illusion. It's a mythology. And I'm not just talking about the big work. The work is never done. How many goals have you set only to set new goals after those goals have been hit? Because the work is never done. And if you keep holding yourself to that deadline, I'll break. I'll breathe when I get there, baby. You never gonna breathe. Caring for yourself is how you stay in the work. And if you're honest, if this space feels like oxygen, if this conversation is helping you exhale, then hear this clearly. This is your space. This is your place. Choosing community is not an extra commitment. It's an act of self-care. It's saying, I know that I got to put this on myself. I know that I got to do this first. I got to put my mask on first, but I don't have to carry this alone. It's choosing better ways to connect, better ways to build, better ways to live. So take your breath. And when you're ready, let yourself stay close to the people and the spaces that help you keep breathing. May you give yourself permission to breathe. May you care for your body, your mind, and your capacity. May you choose community as an act of wisdom, as an act of strategy, not desperation nor sacrifice. And may you build a life that doesn't just survive, but stays alive. Now, if you're the affirmational type, you can say these words: I take care of myself so I can stay present. I take a breath so I can stay grounded. I choose community so I don't carry life alone. In a world that keeps asking more of you, taking a breath is not quitting. It's how you keep going. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. All right, Bridge City, what a conversation. If today's session gave you clarity, energy, or a new way of seeing things, I want you to know this: Sunday sessions are just the beginning. They're the front door, not the whole house. Beyond this weekly gathering, Bridge City is a growing global campus with conversations, events, clubs, training, and collaborative spaces designed to help people connect better, build better, and live better together. What's emerging there isn't passive content, it's an active community. And our clubs in particular have become places where connection turns into collaboration and ideas start becoming real. Now, what you do next matters, because moments like these don't just inform us, they invite us. They surface something in us that says, I don't want to do life the same way anymore. And moments like that, they matter. Not because they feel good, but because they ask us a question. What am I going to do with this? Bridge City exists for people who are tired of navigating the world alone. People who want more than content, more than commentary, more than another place to observe from the sidelines. This is a community for people who want to belong somewhere honest, thoughtful, and human, where growth happens in relationship, not isolation. So this isn't an invitation to watch more or scroll deeper. This is an invitation to join a community, to be known, to be challenged, to be supported, to build something meaningful with people who actually care. If today's session resonated with you, if you felt clarity, relief, curiosity, or even discomfort, that's not accidental. That's the signal. And joining Bridge City is how you respond to it. It's how you move from being inspired on a Sunday to being connected throughout the week. So whether you're here to rest, explore, or help build, there's a place for you in Bridge City. And honestly, this is a meaningful moment to join. We're still early, still shaping, and still building the global team that'll carry this forward. Scan the QR code or head to the link on the screen. That's your on-ramp into the wider community. And let me say this clearly: Thank you. This community exists because people choose to show up, engage, and support what we're building together. If you value these conversations and believe in the work we're doing as a global community, I invite you to consider supporting Bridge City today. Your contributions help make this space accessible, sustainable, and growing. The donation link is in the chat and the QR codes are on the screen for anyone who's willing and able to contribute. Support here isn't about pressure, it's about participation. Thank you for joining us for this week's Sunday session. I truly hope today's conversation stayed with you and gave you something to carry forward. Join us again next weekend, and if you feel moved, invite a friend or even consider hosting a watch party as we continue this series together. If today's talk resonated with you, let us know in the comments. And as always, tell us where you're watching from. We're already building in Los Angeles, Atlanta is on the way, and your city could very well be next. All right, community, that's all for today. Have a people-centric, forward-thinking kind of week. Until next time, keep rising and be the bridge.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Welcome to the makings of a madman. Mad men get shit done, it's a passion. Has-beens can't get close to my lab, man. Since I stopped feeding these suckers, they fast. And this is the reason that I move so fast, man. Rewrote the story and threw out the cast. Fuck all the credit, man, I want the cash. I am the running man, you in the past. Too far ahead of you, you cannot see me. I'm stronger and better, you slept on your Wheaties. I got it together, you fall into pieces. I should be calling you racist. It should be illegal to teach this, but somebody dared me to do it. So I said, well, damn, I'ma do it. That somebody was me, mad.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Welcome to the makings of a madman. Mad men get shit done, it's a passion. Has-beens can't get close to my lab, man. Since I stopped feeding these suckers, they fast. And this is the reason that I move so fast. Rewrote the story and threw out the cast. Fuck all the credit, man, I want the cash. I am the running man, you in the past. Too far ahead of you, you cannot see me. I'm stronger and better, you slept on your Wheaties. I got it together, you fall into pieces. I should be calling you racist. It should be illegal to teach this, but somebody dared me to do it. So I said, well, damn, I'ma do it. That somebody was me.